The following production is intended for entertainment purposes only. We are not legal professionals. We do not speak for any government agency, and the opinions expressed here are our own. Relax.
That's kind of my style, is just to dive in,
Yeah, hell
just
yeah.
to be like, well, let's figure it out as we go. After we
Kool-Aid.
press record.
You know, it's funny because at one point you criticized me for being a little bit too. How'd you phrase it?
I don't know.
Kool-Aid
I'm not
man?
sure which time this was. Yeah, that was because you had driven. I'm pretty sure you had driven through a fence, or you followed a suspect
Yeah.
who had driven through a fence in a pursuit. And I think I remember you saying, I kept wondering when my sergeant was going to call it off. And I said, anytime you think that it should be terminated, you have the authority to terminate it.
Yeah.
It's just a good rule of thumb. If you think if my boss knew what was happening, he would make me quit.
Yeah.
Probably out of 1022 it.
Yeah, whatever. If you're a wuss. If you're a weenie, that's a good rule for life.
I think I may have only had one pursuit ever terminated, and that was by a dearly beloved lieutenant. Probably 2007, and I still to this day.
You only had one pursuit terminated?
I think so.
You terminated my very first ever pursuit, like before I kicked it.
That you gotta remember that was kind of in the last glory days, or the end of the glory days.
Yeah.
You might say, yeah, and for the better. I'm not. I'm grateful that there was never none of my pursuits ended in serious injury or damage or something like that. Especially over this stuff. I mean, you and I knew, we would know that we may not have criminal charges yet, but the way somebody's driving in a pursuit is a fairly good indication of how hard they're running. Is a fairly good indication of like the severity of who you're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean,
but
there's
you never
only
know
so
that.
much.
You never know.
Right. There's only so far someone's willing to run for just a traffic warrant or for just a tail light out versus if they know they have felony warrants or maybe they're in a stolen vehicle and they know it's a stolen vehicle, as indicated by their fleeing the scene, Yeah, man, it was always so weird. The critique of like that felt like the handcuffs that were put on to us, like in the driver's seat, of like, well, how do you know they know that it's a stolen vehicle? Maybe because they're running from me.
Maybe because they use a screwdriver to start it.
Yeah.
Maybe because they bought it for $200 from some dude who they didn't know. Like, yeah, there's any number of reasons they could have known it was stolen.
I was not very good. I was not the cool cowboy that would like carry on the chase. I remember there was a stolen truck that, I mean, I had a good long chase, fun chase with it from like the west side of Wichita, basically all the way out past Goddard. And at one point he pulled into like behind a Dillon's and was like doing donuts and ditched his passenger. Well, I stayed with the passenger. I was like, fuck this. I got one in the bag. Well, when I got out and got the passenger, he took off and everyone else went out and got him. And I think even I remember you at the squadron when I was booking evidence after that, like, why didn't you keep going with the truck? And I was like, well, bird in the hand, we're two in the bush.
Yes, we're two in the bush.
Yeah. I got my guy. I felt more self-satisfaction on those, even on like the big bus, like the big interdiction bus. I always felt good for me. Like once I had enough, I'm good. I don't need to prove to anyone else. I don't need anyone else to see how cool I can be.
Now I got to tell you, there's nothing. Well, at least nothing that I experienced that was quite like a pursuit while doing interdiction. Because
yeah.
that's I mean that's you don't know what you're dealing with
Woo-wee.
when we rode with the highway patrol for that. I think maybe it was just a couple days. We rode with the I-70 squad, uh, and they get multiple loads,
Daily.
probably daily. I would bet they get
Yeah.
at least somebody along
Someone's
I-70,
getting a
but
load.
the Kansas highway
They
patrol,
could be.
yeah. So anyway, we're riding along, and somebody gets in a pursuit with a Kentucky car. It's a rental, but it's Kentucky plated. And they flee the scene, they wreck, blah blah blah, whatever. It ends up being a whole bunch of dope. But like that's a different level. Like because you've got the dope house pursuit, that's one thing. You've got the giant loads of dope, that's one thing, and they're both amazing. But then you put them together, and
it's like heaven on earth.
That's the king, baby. Yeah. But maybe it's because maybe it's because I just have a different perspective on personal liberty, freedom, law enforcement in general. I don't know. I would have done exactly that. I would not. Let me rephrase that. If I were you and I had the passenger, I would have. He'd be in handcuffs. He would have been searched. He would have been put in the back of a cop car. He would have whatever dope he had on him. He'd be booked for it. Blah blah. But now I'm like, he did nothing wrong, or at least by the Constitution, he did nothing wrong.
Right.
I don't think that we didn't have the authority or the right to. We did it, and it probably still happens. I don't know.
Well, absolutely, I had the right to search him. Well, I had the right. I had the right to pat him down. Definitely had the right to detain him and pat him down. Justin Crafton.
Why?
Because he exited a vehicle. I have the right to detain him and identify him.
He fled the scene of a crime. Like he didn't want to be associated with. He didn't want to commit the crime.
Correct.
He's like, let me out. I don't want.
And you know what that constitutes? And so is material evidence.
You handcuffed him and searched him.
Material evidence, and I am well within Terry.
I mean, he's a witness, but I don't know. I think you can make an argument that you can detain him. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm within Terry. Terry says I can. If I'm detaining, I can pat him down.
What are you patting him down for?
Oh, don't you give me this. You know what you want me to say. I'm not going to say it.
What? I want you to tell the truth. What are you patting him down for?
Well, if I'm going to be talking to him, it's going to determine if I'm going to be putting him in cuffs or not. Because if I'm patting him...
Nope. We're just going to go this scenario. Deputy Blackwood, you were in pursuit of a vehicle. The passenger got out. The vehicle continued to flee. You detained...
Get over here. Get up against the car. Hands behind your
client.
Back.
Okay. And did you put your hands in his pockets?
No, not initially. I patted him down.
What? Huh? What did you pat him down for? What did you pat him down for?
For my safety and for the safety of everyone around me, to see if there was any weapons on him that were.
I'm sorry. You started.
That were within his reach. Any weapons that were going to be on him that were within his reach, I wanted to know about. So I patted around his waistline.
And what made you think that he had?
Huh?
What made you think that he had weapons? What made you think he had weapons?
Well, he was showing intent.
Deputy Blackwood, is it not true? Is it not true that you arrested my client without cause, and you went on to illegally search him?
No.
And seized evidence from his pockets?
No.
Dang it, dude, I should have been. Not what happened. I should be a defense attorney. I should do that. I'm going to say right now. I'm just going to throw this out there.
I know I did everything right. That still makes me squirm.
If there's an attorney that just wants some old cops' perspectives, I don't know if I can speak for Two Keys. I'm not sure if you're willing. I'm willing to talk. Like just to give you some perspective, like I got some inside scoop. I can maybe let you know what you're looking for.
Well, I think there is opportunity like that without, well, whatever. I think
Mm.
law firms consult with private investigators often, and oftentimes private investigators are former law enforcement. And I think there is some, maybe it's not always planned out, but I like there's oftentimes that conversation is has like, hey, did you know, according to their policy, they maybe not, maybe they weren't allowed to do this, or
Yeah,
maybe ask him if
yeah,
his supervisor knew what he was doing.
yeah. Oh, I remember what I want to say. Do you remember that? I told you about him. I don't. I don't know if you ever looked into it. I don't remember his name. That cop in South Texas that used to be an interdictor, and now he's like, he's got a business, I think, or at least a program that basically teaches you how to smuggle.
No way.
Do
I mean,
you
he can't
remember?
market it that like that. I remember you telling me about this.
You should look him up, and we should have him on sometime. I would be really curious to hear his perspective, especially. I mean, just to be real honest with my perspective having changed so much, like uh, I'd be curious to hear what led to his change of heart. Actually, I know what led to his change of heart, but it'd be an interesting conversation.
So, with a certain level of detachment, aren't smugglers always looked at in almost a romantic anti-hero slash maybe leaning more toward hero in some situations? Like historically, even in the Game
Yeah,
of Thrones, one of the main, I don't know if you ever watched that, but one of the main, not one of the main characters, but like maybe a sea level character was this smuggler, and he had all his fingers chopped off, and he wasn't a good sword fighter, he wasn't a good politician, he just knew how to smuggle. I
yeah.
think like you could almost, oh man, it's even a little bit more righteous than what, who's the gal, the lady of ill repute that let the children of Israel into the walls of
Oh, Rahab,
Jericho. Yeah, yeah.
Rahab.
Rahab. So I mean, if you can forgive Rahab, surely you can forgive a smuggler. I think it's, we have a certain level of compassion towards smugglers.
Well, I definitely agree with you that they're romanticized, and maybe for good reason. But if you think about like today, most most people would say that they do not that they're against drug smugglers. They're like that's
Yeah, no one's gonna say
there's
I'm
nothing good.
pro.
Not but but were rum runners not looked back on with like kind of a wink and a like a aw shucks like it's cool now the rum runners
JFK's
and all those.
JFK's father made a pretty good amount of money by basically holding uh, whiskey off the coast of the U.S. and waiting for the abolition or whatever to drop,
Yeah,
so he would be the first boat in. He was a whiskey smuggler.
so and it goes back to it's the same argument that everybody always has. Well, if alcohol's illegal, then if drugs are legal, then alcohol should be legal, whatever, other way around. But
Uh-huh.
it's the same thing. It's the same concept.
Yeah. Well, and drugs is such a catch-all. We live in, we're post Dare, and maybe that whole 80s 90s, this is your brain on drugs. Like, we're pretty well
Yeah,
conditioned to, even though you and I both intellectually know that drugs isn't a catch-all for every sort of substance there is, uh man, it's still pretty easy to just say drugs and know I'm talking about the illegal stuff. And yeah, there's such a wide difference because, like you say, if alcohol is legal, then drugs should be legal. Well, what drugs are we talking about? Like, if alcohol is legal, weed should
yeah.
be legal? Sure. I
It's
think,
just drugs.
Yeah, I think if coffee is legal, weed should be legal. Like I think it's the same sort, whatever. There's CBDs, all the letters, the alphabet letters that they say is beneficial. Um, if alcohol is legal, should meth be legal? Well, that's a different conversation that I'm not as well versed on.
It is. It
It,
is, and the pharmacies sell it, as
that's right.
Adderall
That's
or
right.
any other type of. I'm sure there's a million different
Yeah.
brands of it. It's just not made in Mexico.
Yeah, and with the ingredients shipped from China.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I don't know. So, uh I think there's levels of criminals that you're willing to forgive, and uh traditionally a smuggler is pretty high up on the level of a crime I'm willing to shrug off. Like, okay, I know
Yeah,
he's not killing anyone. He's not,
yeah, and who knows? Maybe one day we'll just take my number. Let me
yeah,
get your number just in case.
yeah. And
Yeah,
man, dude. And now thinking about it, there's a couple people like my interdiction career was not long at all, but there's a couple people that's gotten. They're going to be spending over a decade. Well, probably not. They were sentenced to over a decade in prison for some of these loads.
yeah.
And really, what was he doing?
Mm. I always, I always used to think that I could. I always felt like I could outsmart an interdiction officer. And first off, like the odds of the odds of actually getting stopped are so low,
Yeah.
like just astronomically low, that you're even going to encounter a cop. But even if you do encounter a cop, that cop is remotely interested in crime, and if he is remotely like the point at which like your luck has to be so bad to get stopped by a cop who knows interdiction that
Yeah.
like it was just destined to get caught. But I always thought that I could do it. Like I didn't want to, obviously, but I just thought like I knew the questions that they would ask, and I knew the backstory, all that kind of stuff. However,
Yeah.
in my few times of having in my possession something minimally prohibited, like
Uh-huh.
I crap out pretty quick. Like
Sweating bullets.
I had yeah, dude. I had some some edibles from Colorado,
Uh-huh.
and I was in the Colorado airport, which I
Yeah.
think actually in airports I've heard that it's maybe illegal because it's
Yeah, I
federal.
think you might
I don't
be.
know. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, uh, like this dude doesn't give a crap about me having like a handful of gummies, edibles in my backpack. He like whatever. But just on seeing him, I did all the things. I grabbed my backpack. I looked at him. I'm sure that like all of the body language that I know about, that I was like, yeah, man, I could do that. I
Eyebrows
was
went up
doing
high.
it, and I think I even looked back to see if he was following me. Uh, so I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe it's harder. Well, but I guess you would prepare for it. Like I was just caught off guard, and it was just instinct, I guess, for me.
Mm. Now, I really don't want to, but I don't want to give anybody directions on how to, but I've thought about this. I've thought about this as a cop. Like, you have to think on the next move and what's the next move. I've always thought about part of your story kind of hints at this. Kansas KHP got in trouble for stopping people strictly based, or targeting people with out of state plates.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
whatever. That's a whole big argument. That's way past me. But there is a certain amount of, I don't want the LE community to get upset at me, but there's a certain amount of profiling, even though we don't call it profiling. We use it,
yeah,
preponderance of the evidence, the odds, the statistics.
Well, we would say criminal profiling.
Sure. Uh so I think the good interdictors don't do this. But an easy way to start interdiction is to put someone on the side of a highway and say, "Hey, stop every plate from Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas out here in West Wichita. Like, find a reason to stop all of them." That's a way to get started into interdiction. The problem is some people never leave that, or they never progress past that, because that's
Yeah,
the shotgun
that's
effect.
the only thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of like running tags, just running tags nonstop,
Just
and
running
hoping
tags.
you get a stolen car. Yeah,
Exactly. Oh man, I knew someone who swore by that thing, and he was the first guy to get them at our agency, and he was gonna be, he's like, "Dude, I'm just gonna be constantly in cars and pursuits. I'm just gonna be constantly catching bank robbers and child molesters." I'm like, "Oh, cool.
Cool. That'll be fun.
That'll be neat." He's my bud. But where was I going? Oh, so there's some people who just constantly run tags and constantly, stop all the plates from Colorado and New Mexico. And then when you get to a level where you're looking for indicators, you're looking for indicator like behavioral indicators. Those are the money pot ones, I think. Changing lanes away from you, slowing down way more than people. Everyone slows down when they see a cop to a degree. If you're smart, you just let off the gas. You don't hit your brakes. You just let off the gas. But slamming on the brakes, changing lanes away from you, sitting up real tall, when they go past you, they're not able to maintain a solid lane because they're looking in their rear view at you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the money maker. Like whenever me as Deputy Blackwood sitting on the side of the highway, if I see all those things, I'm thinking, yes, now I've got something. Might not be a load, but homeboy does not want me to be looking at him. So you have to defeat both of those. You defeat the indicator ones by using either rental or maybe local. If you use rental, don't church it up. Don't put any displays on. Don't put any stickers on. Don't put any Bibles.
Did you ever did you ever stop a rental with that
With a
was
load?
personalized? Yeah. No, I'm sorry,
No.
just ever a personalized rental, period.
No, I didn't. I've always saw them. I always saw them in all the reports, and I always saw them in all the case reviews. But I never stopped a rental that was personalized. But
Well,
that's a huge sign.
There are trends. There are
Yeah.
trends that are the traffic that we get coming through our area is coming from specific places, whereas I-20, 30, 40, those are going to be different source cities, so they'll have different techniques or whatever. That's I think I interrupted you, but that's what I grew up on, was everything west of Colorado.
Yeah.
So California, New Mexico, Arizona, not really so much Washington State.
I'd say, what do you think?
It's Southwest, basically.
90% of cops, at least that I know of at our old agency, are almost purposely not going to even run an out-of-state tag, because most of them don't even know how to. Like if it's not just like, oh yeah, I know. I had some of my trainers, one of my trainers who's no longer at the agency, who's at another agency now. I was running out-of-state plates, like trying to learn like how to do a handicap Colorado tag or something like that. And he's like, "Dude, just leave it alone. Like just ignore it and go on to something else." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I know most cops won't even run an out-of-state tag. My wife's family thinks that cops target out-of-staters. I think I've experienced the opposite. But I know KHP
that
does.
surprises me. Yeah, or they used to.
Yeah, sure. So you're saying that people that you worked with did target out-of-state plates?
Yeah, well, on the interdiction, that's what we were. That was the culture. And
but when
I worked with guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you and John were rolling around South Wichita, you weren't worried about out-of-state plates.
Oh no.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we were that was just city dope.
yeah.
But yeah,
Obviously,
the
interdiction
guys that
is.
I learned, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
What's
you're right. I think
interdiction?
you're right though that a lot of times,
We keep cutting each other off, and it's because I think my Wi-Fi is lagging. I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask, what is interdiction? Like 1,
oh
2% of law enforcement?
well, that's what I guess what I was alluding to earlier is that it's such a small percentage of cops that even care that it's even
Yeah,
on their radar.
yeah,
I told you about when I was coming back with the kids. I don't remember what highway I was on, um, but I was coming from New Mexico and I got stopped for speeding. And this gal had zero. She didn't ask me anything first off, but she had no idea. She couldn't care less story was or why. I could have had two kidnapped kids with.
yeah,
It was there to write a ticket. Uh, if I had stopped the car, first off, I might not have stopped it, but if I was on a car stop in that scenario, I would have had some questions. Hey man, where are you headed? Where are you headed? Where are you coming from? Who's with you here? Why'd you guys go out there? Why are you guys going there? And I get it that I think people feel like, well, it's none of your business, but you can do it
yeah.
in a conversational tone, and you can do it in such a way that it's not
You have to learn
oppressive or
how to have
offensive.
that conversational tone, though, because at first I did not, and I could tell I made people a little, a little off guard. I'd be like, "Okay, here's your license registration, just so you know you're free to go. Where are you coming from again?" And they'd be like, "What? What?"
And you're just like writing it down.
Yeah, at their driver's side window. Okay, and where are you going? Oh, is that a
Yeah.
normal amount of time to be traveling? Hmm?
Driving through the night, huh? Why?
Uh, I see some food wrappers in here. Looks like you're doing a shot. Am I right? What is this, a suicide load? At the time.
Why don't you go ahead and step out? Why don't you come on back here?
Oh man, have you ever did? I'm gonna be honest with you, and maybe a little embarrassing, but have you ever had anyone when you first started asking people to step out, and maybe you were by yourself? Did you ever have anyone refuse to get out, and you just didn't push the issue? No. Okay. Yeah, good. Me
No.
neither then.
And listen, I'm not talking shit because I like, what else are you gonna do? I do though want to hear how that went down.
So I literally I would learn a new technique from an interdiction book or an interdiction training video or something I learned on this or that. Um, there were like three or four kind of up and coming and a couple very established interdiction schools, and I was getting tools from all of them, like little tips and tricks from all of them.
You were calling the
I you glitched out. What'd you say?
I said you were calling the instructors on their personal cell phones at 11
Yeah,
o'clock at
dude.
night.
Yeah, dude.
Like
If
you
you
had
put
tools
if
at your
you
disposal.
that's right. If you put your name on on a display at an interdiction conference and say, if you got any questions, call me anytime, and I'm in the audience, you might just get a call. As
Ring
some
ring.
yeah,
Hey,
some
hey
instructors
Tony.
know.
Tony.
Does this look like a
Yeah,
false
no,
compartment?
no. I had I had your course about. Do you have a second? Yeah.
You're in a different time zone? No, I'm in Central. I'm okay. No. I work third shift. I know what time it
Any,
is. Uh,
anyway, yeah.
yeah.
So you have to be able, and that really, I think that's what makes a good cop is somebody that can a conversation that's
Well,
consensual yet uh, informative, or like
That's the
is
goal.
you're still getting answers. You're just not. They
You're
don't
doing it
know
in a conversational way.
that. Man, that sounds creepy. But basically, you, they don't know they're being interrogated. It's just a conversation, but it's an intentional conversation.
Right. And so I was learning these things, and like I would give myself, which in retrospect, this might sound, I could pick this apart in retrospect, but I would give myself a goal of a certain amount of cars to stop in the night. I'd be like, okay, I'd want, with probable cause, with legitimate car stops, I'd want to stop for lots of reasons, but the main one would be public safety, performing my normal job, traffic enforcement. But I'd want to do 10 car stops a night. And on those 10 car stops, I was wanting to find a way to have a consensual conversation, hopefully leading to a consensual search. I wanted to practice people having conversation with people and talking them into letting me search their vehicle. That's what I wanted to do. And when I first started to do it, like the very first few times, um, I it was I must have been a Colorado plate, uh, 4-door car. I think it was silver, driving east on 54. I probably picked it up way out west and stopped it in Goddard. Found a traffic reason to stop it in Goddard. Um, give. So I didn't do everything. Now I know that I did things out of order. But when I'm first doing this, I go up to the driver's side window, which I wouldn't do now. I go up to the driver's side window, get her information. It's a female driver. Go back, run her. I had kind of a slight conversation while I'm gathering her information up there. Go back, try to confirm some things. Never really get any ground. Write her a written warning. Go back, give her the written warning, and say, "Hey, you're free to go."
Do you remember what the violation was?
I think it might have been tag light.
Okay. And this is third shift, right?
Third shift.
Okay.
So probably about 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
I give her the written warning and say, "Hey, you're free to go. Any questions?" No, I say, "Hey, I have some other questions for you. Do you mind?" And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Hey, can you step out of your car and come speak to me at my car?" And she's like, no. And I was like, well, I mean, it's okay. You're free to go. I just have some other questions for you. Do you mind? Can you go ahead and step on out? And like, I took a step waiting for her to open the door. She's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. Well, then you're free to go. Again. And just kind of awkwardly turned around.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's exactly the way it really should have.
Yeah, man.
But people, I don't think people realize that you can tell good people, decent people, non-criminals don't want, like they want to support law enforcement and they want to support.
They don't want to be
right. They want
problem.
to support.
They don't want to be
police.
a bother.
They don't want to. They don't want to be a bother. They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to anything. So they don't. I think most people don't realize that you can say no and still be a good citizen, good person, support law enforcement, support whatever. You can be a good person and say no, but also I think it would blow people's minds to realize that people that have 10 per trunk will an officer to search their car. Like it's like even if it's just in a duffel bag, like they'll still grant permission to consent to search.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I've told the story a couple times on how Jose or Jesus had 2 kilos underneath his driver's seat and passenger seat, and he let me search after a dog was ran around the vehicle and the dog didn't indicate.
I think we've had this conversation before.
We sure have. So you don't need to have it again. But yeah, I've had experience with that. Of people letting me search, like he had no business. He got off scotch-free. As soon as I said, "Okay, Jesus, it's time. You're free to go. Do you got any questions?" He should have said, "Adios." Should have been a cloud of dust.
Did you have any that you just know for certain you missed? Either missed or like you just let it, like, didn't pursue and you should have. You know what I mean? Not like pursued, but like any loads that you didn't find or any loads that you should have like just didn't catch it.
Oh man. Yeah. I think you might know about this, but Blick was my sergeant on interdiction, and I had just gotten officially onto interdiction, so I was trying to be a hot shot and stop everything I could. And or I was actually swinging for the fences. I was trying to get like the whales. Actually, I was trying to get like legit loads.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, dude, I was learning case law to defend my actions. Like, actually, I can do this, Captain. But, sorry, I know that might come off wrong. Anyway, so I stopped a green truck. I remember it so well. Okay, so I remember it clear as day. The situation. I was new to interdiction, and I was trying to be a hot shot. I had some stuff to prove. I stopped a green, I want to say Ford. It was a green F-150 with Mexican plates coming from Sinaloa, had Sinaloa tags, or was it Jalisco tags? I can't remember. But they pulled them over in Goddard, and it was just all the indicators. I ran them on an information system search. They had a bunch of hits, like maybe I think some prior convictions on trafficking. That I had a good reason to stop. I had a day shifter back me up, and I think he's a detective now. But I had a day shifter back me up who I could tell like he wasn't totally hip on interdiction, but he had my back. He was like, "No, whatever you got to do, I'm here for it." And so it was really cool. I was using a DEA certified translator over the phone to translate my conversation for me, because that was like the first hiccup is there was no English. I'm like, oh shit. So scrambled, got a certified translator to translate my conversation, gave me consent to search, took everything. I was at a Murphy's gas pump there at the Walmart in Goddard. Took everything out of the back of this truck, searched it, didn't find anything. I'm like hours, pouring sweat, yada yada. Finally, kick them loose. Give them I had already given them the written warning, but I had developed a certain amount to actually detain them. So that detainment was over with. They're gone. I think a week later, you or Blick asked me, they're like, "Hey, did you hear?" Sorry, there's a truck leaving. I think it was you or Blick asked me, like, "Hey, did you hear KHP stopped your truck?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Yeah, they stopped your truck, and there was cash underneath the bed." Or no. It was either you or Blick that said, "Yeah, they stopped the truck, and the reason we find out is because they had a written warning from you, and they called the squad room to see if
Yeah.
what was going on." And so I went and pulled up the load because they posted it on one of the information board, like all the details of it. And I was like, "Holy cow! It was a false bed underneath the truck, the place that I didn't look."
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't have anything coming in, but they certainly had cash going back to Mexico underneath the false bed, and they had my written warning in the truck still.
That's 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 a little bit of a punch to the gut, but it should also be a pat on the back. Like you're obviously were looking at the right indicators.
That's right. I had
You're
the right
obviously
one.
on the right one. Yeah.
And that was around the time that I really started leaning into searches. And I started really leaning into false beds, or like false compartments, hidden compartments. I guess I did get one that had a hidden compartment, but it was just a removed airbag, and there was some weed stuffed in the glove compartment. But I got in trouble for that because I didn't release the car back to him on time.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah,
That turned into a whole stupid thing.
the whole thing.
That whole property and evidence and captain and like that whole thing, everything surrounding that is just so obnoxious. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Man. Well, they had good reason to really overhaul the system.
Yeah, they did.
we
Yeah. No,
we
this was actually though before the overhaul that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the time frame when do you remember when Building 13 was just such a pain in the ass to do? Like you had to jump through all kinds of hoops. It was just dumb. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you had to jump through all hoops to do anything. The alarm was always going off.
Yeah.
You had to sign in to different parts of the building. And it was always cluttered. It was always a mess.
It was always a mess. Nasty.
You'd walk in, there'd be weed plants hanging upside down with the bag rotten. The paper bag has mold growing on it. You're like, oh man.
Yeah, next to a car that has brains on it.
Yes.
Dude.
Someone's coffee can is on top, or someone's coffee cup is on the roof.
When we were cleaning the whole thing up, you remember that I was on a special team to clean it up.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, gee, thanks for the special operation here. But part of the overhaul involved a major cleanup and clean out of evidence that cases have been dismissed years and years ago or have been over with years and whatever.
Evidence that was destroyed.
Do you remember bean dip?
Is that someone's name or is that a situation?
It's a situation that kind of makes me sick just thinking about it.
Okay.
It was a body that they had recovered that had turned into person soup.
Okay.
And it resembled bean dip.
Okay. We're done with this.
Well, I gotta tell you, we're not done with it because part of the clean out involved removing that I don't remember if it was barrel or bucket or whatever, I don't know. It had since been emptied, but when we took the lid off, it was like releasing an evil entity into the world. Like I think I physically saw like a spirit,
yeah,
like,
of course,
ascending out of it. But yeah, dude, the lab at the time, who I absolutely just love. She's just such a wonderful person.
Mandy?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to give her name out, but
maybe.
But yeah, she's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, she's always been square by me too.
Dude, she I don't even remember what it was, but she had to reach in the barrel.
Get out!
Like she was in the barrel, getting things done, and I was just like, holy cow, dude! I was about to lose it, and she was all up in it. She had somebody hold her ponytail.
No.
Yeah, dude.
No.
Anyway, that was that time. So just before that time was a good time. That was fun. It was a fun time to be doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were out there on the highway. It was just fun. We made our own schedules. We had a good lieutenant. We had a good crew. Like it was it was a good time to be doing what we were doing. In the grand scheme, like in the national law, like it wasn't the best time nationally, like as far as just time to be a cop, but in our agency, in my career, that was a fun time. Until it stopped being fun, and that had to do with captains and lieutenants and cowards and all kinds of stuff.
It's a tale as old as time, but people will promise you the moon whenever they're getting elected or whenever they just come in and they have all these big, beautiful ideas. Like the things that get you on board with them, like, well, I know he or she might be lacking in this or that, but did you hear that they're gonna open up an interdiction unit? Did you hear that he said he's gonna make the highways a priority? He said, he was gonna double down on whatever immunity, like he's got our backs. And then whenever he gets in there might be a season of like, hey, let's open the gates. But then very quickly, it seems like, hey, the new budget came out. County said we're going to have to cut some things. First thing on the chopping block is this new fancy unit that I promised that was going to be here. First thing
Yeah.
on the chopping block is that. And then it just quickly, like all that, like I said, that's a tale as old as time.
Well, I think specifically in this situation is you've got a leader at the top whose command staff is afraid of they're afraid
Him.
of they're afraid of him first off.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of from many reliable sources that he'll just lose his mind, like just screaming at people, like just lose his shit, and his people are scared of him.
Yeah.
And so when when he says we got to cut the budget, there's nobody from other than I think our lieutenant is where it stopped, above our lieutenant, that was willing to say you got to find the money elsewhere, like give some pushback. But everybody above our lieutenant was just so scared of him and so scared of conflict that we didn't have anybody having our back, at least nobody that
Man, that's such a tough feeling of there's an issue in a corporation, or you say an agency, or I've seen it in a military command, like in a unit, in a division. There's like the issue I'm thinking of is some form of toxic leadership. And there are other leaders that you know of that are even in the same command that may be subordinate, but have a leg to stand on to say, hey, can we think of different ways? You know what I mean? Like do the Jocko flanking, something, instead of just rolling over and taking it time after time. And I've even seen like some toxic, some like this guy was so brash and so bullish. Like he was kind of over the weight, but he always had his gun belt like tucked under his gut, like almost like showing it off like a trophy, and was always hawking and always had his elbows out. It was just kind of was just boorish.
Who was this?
This was a guy I'm thinking of a guy in the Navy. His name is Thomas Cook.
No, I thought you were talking about somebody we knew.
No. But everyone was complaining about like his communication, the way he was just putting people down, the way he was regarding even junior officers. Like, hey, I think this guy's pretty disrespectful, and the morale's way down. Chiefs, like this guy was an E6. There were E7s I knew that weren't directly over him, but were like in adjacent divisions around us that just would not say a thing. And it was just, and as a junior, as an E5 at the time, you're like, well, who do I talk to now?
Mm-hmm.
If the chain of command ain't got my back, what am I supposed to do? Jump all the way to the sergeant major? Then I look like I have an agenda, and everyone's going to be, questioning me. I guess I'm just going to have to roll over and take this, or not. And then you get,
you get flagged
as a problem.
Yep. Now, one of the things that I kind of struggled with was I absolutely agree with I don't want to fight. I didn't want to fight every battle, because there were just some that I would rather concede this so we can get that, but I think sometimes, I don't know, I think maybe sometimes I should have fought more battles than I should have taken on more battles than I did. But
well, I think at that time, like around that time there were all these big changes. I think you were doing a pretty good job of embracing, at least on the line that I saw. So like I wasn't your peer. I wasn't a sergeant, like, but as a deputy, I think you were embracing the Jocko Willink philosophy, because we were oftentimes talking about that and you were quoting it
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Like it was
He was,
in
yeah, that was intentional.
yeah, of like flanking and not direct conflict. Like let's find a way to get both of our goals accomplished. Kind of that was your philosophy back then, and I think
Mhm.
you were pretty effective at it. And yeah, you were on an upward track with that. If you could have just kept your dang mouth shut. No.
Story of my life.
Yeah, I know. Story of my life.
That's why we're so bonded,
For sure.
because neither of us could keep our mouths shut.
We were each other.
I'm better about it than you, for sure.
Yeah. We were each other's spirit animals. I was thinking, man, I should keep my mouth shut like Justin. And you're thinking, man, I wish I could say the shit that he was saying.
Um, so the I know for a fact, like I'm positive that I let probably I'll bet I can think of at least 3 stops that 100% had loads, like no
Mhm.
question about it. And it just haunts me. There was one where it was on the turnpike. It's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. Just past the K-15 exit, because we would always use
You
that
like
curve
that? Yeah.
that curve as fail to maintain. Man, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. This guy might be drunk. Gotta stop these people.
Yeah.
Keep the road safe.
Keep the road
So
safe.
I get him stopped. Actually, get him stopped up at Kellogg and Greenwich. I
Oh, wow.
followed him from K-15, and he kept failing to maintain.
You're just stacking it
Probably,
up.
probably because he was looking at me, trying to figure out what I was doing, all this kind of stuff. I get him stopped, and it's I think it actually is a rental car. I'm not positive about that, but I think it's a rental car, and it's got like a military support um, sticker
Oh,
on the back.
wow. Okay.
Walk up. It's an older guy, maybe 60s, maybe a 20s passenger. Um,
Both males.
both males. Passenger is like just leaned way back and kind of disinterested in me. They don't really match they're not the same type of I in hindsight, I think the driver was trying to play a character. Like he was pretty clean cut. He was, there was a Bible, literally a Bible on the dashboard. The passenger was just kind of like you would look at him in Wichita and be like, oh, that's a criminal.
Yeah.
Just his appearance, his demeanor,
Yeah.
that was. So they were going to Kansas City, and they were going up there because his wife had the breast cancer,
Mm.
and she wasn't doing well. And dude, I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I was feeling lazy. Maybe there was nobody to Nate. I don't know what it was. Uh, but I listened to the story, and it was compelling enough. It was reasonable enough that I just let him go. And about 15 minutes later, I said, "Did he say the breast cancer?" And it just like everything came crashing. Like, what? How did I not pick up on this? And I was like, everything that I just that I recited there, I just didn't put it all together.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I just was not on it. Uh, but I guarantee, 100%, no doubt, there's a load there.
Yeah.
I had one where one of my buddies, one of the KHP city handlers, he was a good dude, good friend. I like him. I had a car stopped that this is when I had a dog. Ran the dog. It was a Volkswagen Jetta, and ran my dog. Dog hit on the passenger side tail light, I think it was. Put the dog up, searching, can't find it. I called him This was before we had computers that accessed that had all the time access. So I called him to have him look up on this bulletin board, like for common areas in a Volkswagen Jetta.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Long story short, he's like, man, nah, man, the story, like, I don't think you got it. I don't think you got it. I don't, blah blah blah. You're looking in the right place. Keep it up. But he talked me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, no, I'm sorry. No, I told him the story. That's what it was. I told him the story. Uh, where do you think it could be? And he's telling me, yeah, I think you're looking too hard. Let it go. Blah blah blah. Then I go back and get on the bulletin board, and I find that that's like there's a void there in a Volkswagen Jetta that's very common to like that's a spot where they find a lot of dope. And I was like, ah, if I just would have not stood my ground, but just not caved so
Trusted
easy,
yourself.
trusted my gut.
Hmm.
And this was, again, he was a good interdictor, so I looked up to him, but he led me astray on that one. But
You
still,
think
I missed it.
yeah. Well, kind of hitting back on what we were talking about, maybe on some abusive leadership. What do you know about this Colbert situation? Colbert getting kicked off, or not getting kicked off, his show getting canceled.
Very, very little other than what I think happened is did he say something political that somebody didn't like and they canceled him as retaliation?
On July 17th, CBS said that the late night show with Stephen Colbert will end in May in 2026. So they announced that they're ending it. CBS said that it's officially due to financial loss, 40 to 50 million per year, and declining late night ad revenue, not the content as reason. So they were saying that it wasn't anything that he said, that it just wasn't making the money.
Okay.
The problem with this is that their views are somewhat public. You can't really trust it because it's kind of tricky how they count their views. But far and away, I think the most popular show that they have is the Stephen Colbert Show. So the explanation of it being financial reasons just automatically doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
What's really tricky about this is this comes after they just settled. CBS and Paramount, the parent company, just settled with Donald Trump because he sued him for like $10 billion, and they settled for 16 million. But what's pretty telling is that they settled. Like what he sued
What
him,
did he? Go ahead.
what he sued him for was, here, let me scroll down. This would be a good time to share the screen, but it's all good. He filed a lawsuit in Texas against CBS and Paramount, seeking $10 billion, later increased to $20 billion in damages. He claimed that 60 Minutes aired two different clips of the Vice President Kamala Harris answering the same question about the Israel-Hamas conflict, allegedly editing the interview to make her appear more coherent and to Trump's view, influencing public opinion in her favor. So he says that CBS edited the Kamala Harris interview to make her seem more coherent, and there was proof saying that there was two different answers that she gave for the same question. They edited two different answers.
Mm-hmm.
In July, Paramount agreed to settle the case for approximately 16 million, which was directed toward Trump's future presidential library, and agreed to cover all legal fees. Here's the part that's come out. So, like the case law thing that's affecting future interviews is full transcript releases are required for future presidential candidate interviews. At least that's the precedent that they say this case is setting.
Okay.
So I'm going back to us. So so that's the situation is Trump sued back last year. Trump sues Paramount for editing a 60-minute interview with Kamala Harris. They were trying to make her seem more coherent than she is. He thinks trying to sway public opinion against him.
I think I saw videos. I think I've seen both of those. And if what I've seen is accurate, then it seems to me that it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a question, especially since they settled that. Yeah, they were doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, there's been books written from President Biden's own staff members about how they knew he was mentally incompetent before the election, before the 2020 election. They knew that he was incompetent. So, like, there's already books being released about this. We know that the media has been in on it. We
How
know that.
about
Go ahead.
how about Hillary being on sedatives or tranquilizers or what?
Yeah, because she was afraid of Trump winning. Yeah, go ahead.
I just had something pop up. Norton is quarantining an email for me. What were we saying?
Oh no, I was just saying that the news was already implicit.
Oh,
It's not a question of what if they were editing, trying to make their people look better.
So he sued him for billions, got 16 million, what's really it's striking me as very odd. $16 million doesn't sound like that much, which that's a ton of money, but it just doesn't seem like a ton of money anymore.
It's life-changing money for me and you.
Yeah. But there's baseball players making 300 million.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't get it, dude. But no, so is the theory then that they canceled Colbert because of?
So the theory is that was part of their settlement. They're like, hey, we're obviously not going to give you 10 or 20 billion dollars, but they replaced they replaced like a bunch of their top leadership. They got rid of a lot of people who were talking shit about Trump over the last 4 years. Like, they got rid of a lot of the super liberal folks, and they got rid of the Colbert Show, and they settled for 16 million versus the 10 billion.
Okay, I think I see the tracks you're laying down.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of problems with that. It's an abuse of the legal system. It's definitely an abuse of power, but it also points out, like, there's no clean guys in this. It also points out that, yeah, they were editorializing or, editing the interviews to make the candidate that they wanted to win. Like, they were engaging in
fraud.
Yeah, fraud. Exactly. To the American people.
Yeah.
So, the big point that I that we can, I think, maybe all probably draw some comparisons to in our own personal life is just the boorish type of leader that is just not willing, not only not willing to concede that he's ever wrong, but if anything in the universe like goes against him, he will move hell and high water to destroy that person. Place him on a Brady Giglio list, even though that's not what Brady Giglio is intended to do or ever has been used for. It's obvious, just a form of punishment. You use it just as a form of punishment and dismissal. Like, oh, that guy, you can never listen to anything he ever says again. Yeah, because I put him on this list.
Yeah, which if you're on that list as a cop, your career is done.
Yeah,
like you might not lose your job, but you'll lose you'll lose your assignment for sure. One of my worst supervisors, at one point was one of my, I don't know if I'd say he's one of my best, my favorite people. I don't know. I used to like the guy a lot, but I realized at some point that this guy cannot be wrong. Like, like that's part of his psyche. Like, that's who he thinks he is never wrong. And it was so hard to work. It was so hard to work with somebody like that. Because it's like, if you can never, especially if it's your boss, if you can never be wrong, like I can't trust you for anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you for anything for sure.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's such a loaded gun. Man, that's scary because that's like the type of leader that I'm always afraid I don't want to be. That's the opposite of the type of leader that I even want to be. Like I go out of my way to not be that guy. Yeah, that's everyone's worst nightmare. The type of
Hmm.
person that you just can't even be around.
But still at the same time, like I feel for a guy like that. Like
Oh yeah,
I
you
like
know it's
just
like that for a reason.
yeah. Like what has to happen? What did you have to grow up with to
Mm.
think that you weren't allowed to be wrong? Again, and that's not putting anybody down. That just to me that makes sense. That if that's the personality you developed, you probably developed it as a defense mechanism because you couldn't be wrong.
It might, yeah, going on that where you can't be wrong and just that monstrous personality that all evangelicals seem to be flocking to right now. Um, Couple bullet points. Virginia Giuffre or Giuffre, sorry, I'm mispronouncing her name. Virginia Giuffre. She's one of the Epstein victims that killed herself earlier this year, even though she had made like a public social media post that says if I commit suicide, it's not suicide.
Did she really?
Yeah. Um,
Oh wow.
she was a very public advocate of Epstein disclosure, and her family is suing Trump. Uh, I think, according to from the Guardian, from that I'm looking at, for the evidence to be released, for the Epstein files to be released, because that's what the victim would have wanted. So this thing of we're not going to release it because for the victims, well, the victim's family wants the evidence to be released.
Yeah.
But what I was wanting to get to is FBI has redacted Trump's name and others from the Epstein related documents. The DOJ cited privacy and ongoing investigations, and that was according to ABC News. That Trump's FBI, his Department of Justice, is going to release these Epstein files now, the ones that didn't exist a week ago. But before they can do that, they have to go through and redact all the information. And they've confirmed that some of that information is Donald Trump's, the information that they're redacting.
So if you're gonna take names off, then what's the point? Then we still don't have the list.
Right. Well, they're going to give you something, and it's going to appease a lot
Sure.
of people.
Yeah.
There's going to be something. I bet there's going to be some Democrats' names listed on there.
You're gonna get the left side of the hog.
Yeah, for sure you are. Yeah. And they're already saying, they're already confirming that they're redacting other individuals and including Trump for ongoing investigation reasons. The type of leader that can never be wrong, the type of leader that attacks you for even bringing something up, and the type of leader that if he is going to bend, he's still not going to. He's still going to take all the names out.
Mm.
Yeah. Ghislaine Maxwell is talking to the Department of Justice for an immunity deal.
Dude,
I
why?
mean, this is a good segue to just how crazy the fucking world is right now, because I was gonna get
It's
to a starship that's allegedly attacking Earth by May next year.
well, I maybe I'm onto something. I don't know, but I remarked to my wife the other day that it's been unseasonably pleasant for the past on so it's been super pleasant the past 3 days, but just in general, this summer has been. I don't know that we've had a triple digit um, day. Like
What?
it's been very mild.
I have been
Uh,
cooking in the bowels of hell down here.
yeah. Well, I told my wife that if the world is going to end soon, at least we're having the last couple like some pleasant summers. I mean,
Uh,
if we're going to go up in a ball of fire or we're in a nuclear attack or whatever is going to happen, at least it's maybe we'll have a mild winter too. I don't know. We'll just kind of
yeah.
fade away.
Yeah. So Ghislaine's getting an immunity deal. Trump's erasing his name from the Epstein files that didn't exist a week ago.
Well, they were in limbo.
Yeah.
They were they while certain things were some of yeah, I can see it. Some of the things didn't exist anymore because they were removed. And so it's just a confusing question. Like, does it exist? Does it not exist?
What
It's
are we even talking about?
who's
Are we
to
still?
say? Who's to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
But here's some guys that are creeps. I'll talk about them. Here you go.
Actually, let's expose these documents that say Hillary Clinton was taking nervous meds and Barack Obama. We know you guys don't like Barack Obama. Let's find some reasons to talk about him some more too.
So, did you finish your thought on Colbert? Basically,
he's a sacrificial lamb. Paramount is laying him down to make Trump happy.
was he particularly like more, was he harder on Trump than the others?
Yeah, he's always been a pretty harsh critic of Trump. Since the news of his show canceling, he's invited Trump on, and he's invited a bunch of these other political people on. I doubt that Trump will go on to Colbert, just because Colbert controls that audience and that whole show so well.
Yeah,
I doubt he'll go on there. But yeah, Colbert, I guess, by all accounts, is supposedly like pissed and doesn't want to take it laying down, but he's going to be out of it. They're going to set him up with another show. He's just going to go on to the next thing.
Yeah, or just another network.
Yeah,
he will not suffer from this.
And if anything, I mean, like me, people are just going to be looking at him more now because I was completely disinterested in Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
Like, ever since he dropped his funny act, I haven't really been on him anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that makes him more more relevant than ever. But it does it does create a real problem when the president is able to, when a president is able to essentially silence a comedian because he doesn't think it's funny. Like, he doesn't get the joke, or he doesn't like the joke. Like, that feels like something we might have done hundreds of years ago. Something kings might have done. Just having the jester executed, or maybe something that Kim Jong-un would do.
Yeah.
Not an American president.
Yeah. Until you start looking into it and you realize we have a long history of killing our political opposition, especially around the world, but even in the world, we've done that. We got a long history of doing bad things to American citizens, especially if there's a good reason to, but sometimes for no good reason.
Sometimes just on figure it out.
They're out of control.
Let's just see what happens.
So yeah, we have, so the political system is completely on its head. There's nothing we can trust from our leadership. The world is evidently being controlled by a small group of billionaires that seem to be hell-bent on protecting pedophiles. And there's a meteor, an intergalactic meteor, which they say evidently is pretty rare. Like, for objects to actually go into different galaxies is pretty rare. There's like Halley's Belt. There's a bunch of things that is naturally in our galaxy, but for intergalactic objects to come into our galaxy is pretty rare. And this is like the second time it's happened in our lifetime. So for something that's supposed to be incredibly rare, this is the second time it's happening
more often.
Yeah. And let me see if I can pull up this. What everyone's real afraid of is, as it's getting closer to us, it's getting closer to the sun. So what it's going to do is essentially hide behind the sun. Like, it's going to, as it's getting closer to us, it's going to be eclipsed by the sun until the next time we see it. It might be too close for us to do anything about. And there was this claim, this Avi Loeb, a Harvard astrophysicist, so not someone from Coastal Community College, but someone from a Harvard astrophysicist known for his provocative hypothesis
let's see, he co-authored something called "Is This Interstellar Object Alien Technology?" So he published a paper saying that it's could be alien technology, and there's no reason to think that it's nice or friendly. Like almost as a warning, like this because the way that it's moving, it could be controlled some way, and the way that it's controlling suggests that it's like trying to hide from us. And
Okay.
and so yeah, this Harvard astrophysicist published a paper that said this thing is coming at us and might not be friendly. There's also been a lot of people that have taken opposite views of him, saying like, "Oh no, this doesn't mean this at all." You know, it could be any number of things, but there could be an alien spaceship on the way to attack us.
Whatever happened to all the drones and the freaking UFO sightings and everything?
Um, the DOD, or someone collected a leak this past week from the DOD saying that the Tic Tac UAP is actually a project by Lockheed Martin.
Really?
Yeah. Um, I think it's very convenient to say that. I don't know if I buy that.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I believe that. I think yeah, I don't know. I'm reserving judgment at this point, but I don't buy the official story for sure.
What is the official story? Just
If
that
it,
it's Lockheed Martin?
the leak is that the Tic Tac that like Commander uh been a couple different Air Force and Navy commanders. I wanted to say his name, but I blanked on it. That these like documented sightings of this Tic Tac that goes like intermedium, goes from air to water without slowing down, like doesn't change speed, going into the water, and it like goes like 50 Gs, like goes from 30,000 feet to like basically ground level and stops. Like if there was
Mm-hmm.
anything organic in that, they say it couldn't survive.
Mm-hmm.
They say this thing is the leak is saying is that that's controlled by Lockheed.
And you don't why don't you believe that?
No, because the F-35 is a piece of garbage. They can't they like evidently we have this hyper gravity engine that is emitting no heat and can do all this crazy stuff, but meanwhile the thing that's keeping the company afloat, the sale of their actual products, Europe is stopping to buy it because it's failing. I think there was a couple of them that got allegedly got shot down in Israel. I don't think we have the technology. I don't think we don't have that juice. We don't have
Hmm.
anything that's even close to that. And the company that's taken cred for it has garbage products. I mean, that nothing I can't make it an F-35, but
Right.
F-35s are not cutting it. They're definitely oversold. I don't see how you can jump from an F-35 to this Tic Tac.
Yeah.
And
The what
I think it's misinformation too. I think they want us. It's like a look over there, not here type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think that like is it being released now just because of the whatever else like do you think that it's just a timing issue, like they're using this as a distraction, or
I don't know. There certainly are a lot of distractions going on right now.
yeah.
Like there's certainly a lot of things to be distracted from. Like Israel is still getting raked over the coals about Gaza. There's people publicly dying in the streets, like on camera, on cell phone footage. People are just dropping in the streets from starvation. Like a lot of children, but also adults, like hardy military age or whatever 40, 50-year-old people are just falling down in the street from starvation. um there's a couple countries saying that they're threatening to recognize Gaza, or was it Gaza or Palestine, as a country. It might have been Palestine, but there's a couple governments, including France and Great Britain and maybe someone else, that's come out publicly, I think it's Gaza, wanting to recognize the state of Gaza. And Israel's, that's their big bugaboo. They don't want that to happen. I don't know, World War III on either whether in the Middle East, Taiwan, or Ukraine, or
Yeah.
civil war here, or an unstable economy. In fact, that
Russia just did something, didn't they, with their nuclear missiles, or I don't know what it was. I just saw a headline today that they took some provocative step.
I had heard that they. Well, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I had heard today that they introduced a new weapon system, like that was, I guess, another level and a some sort of delivery system that they've been waiting on, like I guess further and higher capability delivering
Yeah,
system. Yeah.
I think that's I think that's what I was talking about, and I thought that it was somehow related to nuclear weapons, uh, but I just can't really wrap my mind around somebody like in Putin, Trump, Kim Jong Un, whoever it is, like actually pushing the button, because it just seems like it would be so mutually destructive. Like you are going, surely you're going to die if you push that button, right?
Yeah, it's mutually assured destruction. It has to be. It has to be. It's almost a selfish. It's almost like even to have it is a selfish thing. Like if you know you're going to die, you just can die easy knowing that they're going to die too. Like, oh,
Yeah.
the missiles
And
are
so,
coming. Make sure we get ours too, so they're gone.
do you think that they like just probability, will they ever be used? Would
Oh,
nuclear weapons,
they
like,
say
would,
we're closer now than we've ever have been.
but
Especially,
again, it's mutually destructive.
yeah. Well, so the type of nukes that have been talked about in the last couple of years were these like tactical nuclear warheads that Putin was theorizing using in Ukraine, and it wouldn't be like an ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile type of nuke. It would be something small like a briefcase or a backpack. Like not a dirty bomb, but a small, focused, very destructive radiological blast.
Okay. So something that would take out a major city.
Yes, definitely a downtown of a city and make it uninhabitable for miles around it, you know. Um,
Okay.
be pretty useful to use around airports, be pretty useful to use around bases, be pretty useful to use around seaports, it'd be pretty useful to use around, yeah. Think
Okay.
about it.
So I could, yeah, I guess I was thinking only of the big ones. So you
Yeah.
think that's kind of what we're on the brink of?
Well, you have to think about what someone's willing to forgive. Like you almost have to pray to have the restraint of Iran, because Iran has showed some pretty big restraint, I think, in the last month. Um, yeah, I know that they have, but you have to think of like what we're willing to forgive. Like let's say Putin sets off one of these ballistic missiles in worst case scenario in Kiev, in the capital of Ukraine. Takes out the capital of Ukraine, makes it uninhabitable. Definitely wipes out the leadership and all the military brass and yada yada. Um, does that mean that the US has to nuke Moscow?
I hope not.
I hope not either. That's tragic. That's awful. That's the worst case scenario. I don't want anyone to be setting off any nuclear missiles or nuclear bombs. But if a tactical warhead, let's say, if Pakistan set off a tactical, man, they were dangerously close to nuclear war like a couple weeks ago. Donald Trump actually came in and squashed that. But if Pakistan um, set off a tactical nuke in India. Didn't kill millions of people, but definitely thousands, and maybe crippled part of their infrastructure or crippled part of their military. Does that mean that the world has to be engaged in nuclear holocaust at that point?
I hope not.
I hope not. But what if Russia, or what if whoever the bad guy nation is nukes the east coast of the United States?
then I think we gotta.
I think we got it. Well, what?
Well, I think it's a fight.
It's got
Like
to be a fight. We have to make sure that doesn't
you
happen again. We have to stop that from happening.
and yeah, and you've got to survive that fight. So
Yeah.
you can,
I think
at
all the
that
gloves are off at that point.
at that point, I think that, and I think ultimately what I'm getting at when I'm saying I hope we don't have to get involved in Russia or Pakistan or whatever is that it's just not our fight. It's
Yeah.
just not our fight to be invested in.
That's the big point
And I
is
don't
it's not us.
like I'm not, uh, and I'm not supporting anybody getting nuked or I'm not certainly not supporting a family getting blown apart just because of their proximity, to a target, like on any side. Um, but yeah, I just don't think that it's our business. I don't think that it's our. Um, we don't
Well,
need to be involved.
at some point you have to think like a couple hundred years ago there was a handful of superpowers. Like go back to the 1800s. It was the US was not a super, even though kind of it was, but really it was England, Spain, France, the Dutch. Portugal was kind of on its way out, but it used to be a superpower. Those were the countries that really ruled the world. And now it's definitely England or the US, Russia, and China. And England is kind of like in the mix too. I would say a first world country, but they're not as decisive as the United States.
Yeah.
I think it's been pretty revealing that Israel has more power than anyone ever thought that they did. So they obviously are at the decision making table.
Mm-hmm.
But I think not that France is anything to envy. Like I think I've heard that their political system is like pretty captured, and that like the political dissent is pretty heavily punished there, and their immigration rules are kind of crazy. But 200 years ago, France was like one of the world powers. Like it was England, France, Spain. Now, France is sure a world power, but they're not in the middle. They're not policing. They're not fighting Israel's wars for them
Yeah.
like we are. They're
I
not putting in these tariffs.
is Are countries like France, are they going to like are they sending troops and I just don't hear about it, or maybe Canada too.
I
Like are
think
they just
Canada
not
definitely. Canada got in the mix a lot. Like in the
okay?
GWAT wars, Canada definitely got in there. I had heard stories of like so I think the long answer is no. France doesn't get involved in as much of like the Middle East wars. You do see some ships in the Middle East, but they also have a lot of interest in North Africa and kind of historically always have, and they still do. A lot of the old French colonies are still kind of French ruled. It's definitely part of the French economy still. A lot of the
Okay.
African countries are. So, like, the French Foreign Legion is constantly operating in Africa, or the French military period is constantly operating in Africa. But I don't think they're not as evolved in Middle East affairs as we are.
Yeah. But they're still doing rotten shit, just not
Yes.
over there. Gotcha.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I just don't want to. I think the U.S. should be aiming to not be the world's police. I think that was a mistake for us to ever take on that role, or the world's bank. We don't need to be the world's bank either. That was the whole point of the petrodollars. We made the whole world dependent on our currency. And surprise, it caused a lot of resentment.
Do you think that we did that though to be like became the world's now obviously it's not like there was a board meeting where they decided this is what we're going to do for America,
There
but
probably was some meetings.
I wonder if it's not a matter of uh, becoming the superpower so that you are this for the sake of being the superpower.
Well, someone's got to be the superpower. You don't want Russia to be the superpower, so you better make sure damn well that it's the U.S.
Yeah,
That's definitely that's the Cold War mentality, right?
yeah.
That's post World War II. Yeah, what I'm getting at is at some point there has to be an exit. Like I don't want the US to fall into anarchy. I don't want the world to fall into world war. I don't want a nuclear holocaust, but I do want a return to sanity. I don't want my kids, I don't want to be afraid that my kid out of a need to be patriotic is going to go fight Apex War Forum or is going to go fight Northrop Grumman's War Forum. I don't want that to be fear. You know, I don't want that fear to be real in my life and it is. I don't want it to be worried about our economy collapsing because of some conflict and because we stretched our currency all around the world when we're not the whole world. We're us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want some sort of return to normalcy. And it seems to me that a way to do that is to be following the line of England, to be following the line of Scotland and France and Spain. And they're definitely not perfect, but they're not the world police, and I think that's a big thing to not be the
Yeah.
world's police.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm thinking though is that, like, when I've heard that, I've always thought of it as, in more of a noble perspective. And I almost wonder if it's not so much out of nobility, but if it's not, if we're not being the world police because it gives us power,
Yeah.
because you know what I'm saying?
Oh, well,
Like,
the only reason we want yeah, it's to make people rich. It's the bidding
yeah,
of the rich and powerful and the few. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, I can see that. I had always thought that, that we were just doing it out. The argument that I would make is, well, if you see your neighbor is abusing his wife, you have a duty to go defend her, even though it's not your own home.
That's cute.
That that uh, that I think is probably how most Americans would view it.
Yeah.
And that's just that's just a difference. That's not what's happening.
I was really surprised
What's
by how many people had a problem with Iran saying death to America. Like people I know said, well, they can't be saying death to America. Like, is that your problem? Like, that's the line that they cross that you just can't take?
nuke them,
Yeah, for real.
turn them into a parking lot.
That was the threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, I mean, obviously, I don't think those people actually cared. I think they were conditioned to care. I think, some of them Fox News, some of them their right-wing media influencer told them, like gave them the talking points. Said, "Hey, look, they've been saying death to America, death to Israel. Hey,
Yeah.
look, they've been doing this. We told them you can't. And look, they have 60% enriched uranium. There's no reason to have 60% enriched uranium."
Yeah.
Like just all the Fox News talking points is what I heard. I don't think those people actually believe that. I think, this is beating that same old drum that I think we did pretty good with Garbage Boys last week on hitting this is that they're afraid to let go of that identity. Like they've invested so much into this identity of not only am I Christian's not the top of the list. Not only am I a Christian, I'm a Western evangelical, I'm a conservative Republican, I'm MAGA, mother lover. That means I can cuss and drink beer and love Jesus. And my guy's right, no matter what. You hype yourself up. I mean, they've spent 8 years of trying to be the good guy. There's no way they're gonna admit that they're wrong now. So when everyone says, well, they said death to America. Yeah, that's right. They said death to America, I guess. Oh, shit. Fuck. Sorry. A frog about this yay big jumped in and just jumped past my feet.
I thought that was part of what they were saying. Like I thought that was part of the story.
Woo! That got me, buddy. You scared me. You're going to stay in my garage tonight. I'm not chasing you out. Dude, I held alligators today.
I saw that. That's freaking cool.
We definitely should have talked about that at the beginning of the episode. We'll talk about that again next time.
You should have taken that tape off his mouth.
And seen what's what.
Yeah. That's the equivalent of take that badge off, take that gun off. You're not so tough. Take that tape off. You're not so tough.
Dude, there was a 14-foot alligator there. There is a couple 13-footers, multiple, like if you believe the staff there's hundreds of or over 100 12-foot alligators at this camp. Dinosaurs, dude. I'm talking
Like,
about. Go ahead.
well, what exactly is it? Is it like are there actual like live alligators out there and stuff, or
Oh yeah.
is it a zoo, or what is it?
No, so it's just a swamp. It's a swamp. It's half of it's kind of like a cattle farm, and you can tell that this was just a family property that over the years, many years ago, they commercialized. They put a boardwalk in there. They fence it up. They have feed and things, but this was just a swamp. This was just a southern Alabama swamp that they turned into Alligator Alley
Okay.
in Summerdale, Alabama, and tell them Lawless podcast sent you.
Y'all come down here at Alligator Alley.
That's right. You get in there, it's not too pricey to get in, and man, you'll see as soon as you get in, you can buy either a cup of food or a bucket of food. At first I got the cup, but I went back and got the bucket.
What are you paying for a bucket of food? $7.25?
Oh, no. These are Gulf Shore prices, my friend. It's $3 for the cup, and I'd say the cup it's decent size. It's like a souvenir cup.
Okay. Yeah.
It's bigger than that pink one you got there, but
Okay.
maybe the same diameter, just taller. And then that's $3. No. That's $6 for the cup, $3 for the refill. That's a frog.
Does the cup come with food in it, or you gotta?
Yeah, the cup comes with food in it. It's these. Don't ask me what they are. They're some sort of like protein meat. I know that they're carnivores, like they don't eat grass. It's some sort of these meat pellets, but they're dry. It's a dried texture.
Okay.
You go in, you first see some babies, some like little 1-footers and 2-footers, like, oh, okay, cool. And there's like a bridge over a pit. And then they grow about a foot a year until they're like 6 or 7 years old. So then you see some 3 and 4-year-old ones, and they're like
Now, are you walking through? Like, are you walking over the swamp, or just on bridges, or what?
So the first part you come into, it's like a zoo almost. Like there's a bridge over an indoor pit where the little babies are, and they have it covered so like no eagles are going to come in and scoop them up, and they're safe, you know.
Okay.
The so I guess the 2 to 6-year-olds are separated because there's most of the swamp, like there's like 300 acres of swamp that's dedicated to the big boys. That's dedicated to like, I guess 6 foot. Once they get 6 foot or bigger than 6 foot, they send them out there with the champs.
Okay.
And then it's fend for yourself. That was fucking nuts. I'll get to that.
Okay.
So you go past the little guys, you see the 2 to 4-year-olds, and they're like cat dog size. They're like 30, 40 pounds. The one I held was a 4-year-old. That was 4 feet long, that alligator.
Okay. What did it weigh?
I'd say less than 40 pounds, 30 something, 30 pounds. I mean, Cash and Alley could pick it up.
Yeah. So most of its tail probably. So
certainly
4 foot from the nose to the.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You can throw your little pellets over there, and I did at first, but these guys were like very disinterested in the pellets. Like I think only 2 of them actually ate the pellet, and they're so lazy. They come up.
The rest were like hitting them on their head.
Yeah, literally. Ashley threw one and it bounced off of one of theirs head, and like he didn't even blink. And I was like, oh man. I was kind of getting bummed out. I was like, is this gonna set the tone? Well, you get out of there, you see up all the way up to 6-foot ones, like the teenagers, and those are the ones that were actually eating the pellets. Like they're kind of getting a little feisty. They're snapping at each other. You cross this bridge, and
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Did you try to start an alligator fight?
Oh, dude.
I know you did.
I saw an alligator bite another alligator's face today, and these were not little alligators.
Did you start it?
Well,
like, did you throw food intentionally between them?
Not intentionally, but I knew what was going to happen, and I was getting it in the space between them. They were like lined up like this, and I threw the food right here, so it was like,
yeah.
And then he went boom and bit this motherfucker's nose, and he jerked out of it, and they were like splashed and rolled around, and we're like, oh shit. You cross the bridge and you go into Jurassic Park. There's because all those other enclosures were fenced in. They have these young guys separated from the big bullies because the big bullies will eat these younger alligators. Like they
Okay.
have to protect them until they're at least 6 foot, because 6 foot is when you can start to protect yourself. Um, as soon as we get over the bridge, there's this alligator whose head is as wide as my truck tire. Like, looks absurd. You're like, oh, I thought I was looking at it wrong. Like, I kept trying to turn myself to think, like, I'm on the wrong angle of this thing. And it was just a dinosaur underneath there. I only saw his shoulders and like this more than 2 foot wide, like 2 foot plus wide body going back to find, pointing out at the
Yeah.
tail till we got around the other side and I seen the rest of his head just under there start throwing food at us. And I was afraid that they were going to be lethargic or not really appreciative like those young shits were back there. But no, these guys, I found out that the young guys get fed pretty regularly. The young
Okay.
guys will have someone come in there and throw them chickens or whatever. The super monsters that they even have the swamp separated where it's like everybody fends for themselves, and then they have like stars of the show that they let come into the beach where they do feedings a couple times a day, and they'll be throwing chicken out to those big monsters, but that's just for the stars of the show. Everyone else, it's prison rules. Like, you get what you
That-
get.
Yep.
And
Best of luck.
yeah, I think a lot of it they're depending on the food that the visitors come and buy and throw, because they sure were acting like it. Like they
Yeah.
were
Were they
fighting for these
putting
like
on
they were hungry.
a little street show, a little performance for you?
Yeah, dude. I seen this one guy who was, it seemed like to me, like I was getting a read of the room. There was a slightly smaller, like maybe 8 footer that was separated from all the 10 foot big plus ones. And I could tell he was like between these trees and kind of off by himself. I was thinking, dude, you're probably just trying to survive right now, ain't you? And I
He's
felt,
just gonna hide.
he's like, he's just catching his breath, like, don't
Yeah.
eat me, don't eat me, don't eat me. Well, I come over there and hold up just one of these burnt little bricks, and this lover jumps, like sticks half his body out of the dang water. It was like,
Oh
oh.
wow.
I threw like five, and all of them missed his mouth. The biggest goal, less than a foot away from my hand, is going pew pew. Ah,
Dude, he was that close?
well, I mean, definitely where I ended up tossing a couple right into his big old gourd. And he wasn't even the biggest one. Like I said, he was smaller than the fellas that were on the other side of the bridge.
Do you ever like when you're feeding the fish or the animals or whatever, like if one of them's being selfish or like being pushy,
I'll punish him.
be like, yeah, nope,
Nope,
you don't
not
get
for
any
you.
more. Nope,
Mm-mm.
quit.
I'll
Get
even-
back.
I'll kick him. I'll do that when I'm babysitting.
I will not hesitate to teach an animal a lesson in appropriate behavior.
Yeah, and manners and
Yeah.
etiquette.
Yeah. We did something like that in Florida. We went on one of those fan boats.
What part of Florida?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Oh, well, I'm in that part.
We
of
went
Florida.
through the swamps.
Yeah.
We saw alligators. I mean, yeah, I don't remember where it was. I should look into it. I still want to come out there though. We need to. We need
Yeah.
to make that a top priority.
For sure.
Well,
that's my life right now, as I live with alligators and cottonmouths.
yeah. So, how far is that from your house? That place.
No, it's 10 miles from my house.
And those alligators are like just free to come and go. Are they on day passes?
Those alligators at this place are somewhat fenced in. Like there's a body of water I think they come in and out of, but most of them I think stay there for the food. There's fences to protect the public from them on the trail. And I have to assume that part of the majority or part of the property in the back is fenced in. But when you're walking around there, it looks like just a wide open swamp.
Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is, are there native alligators like to that area?
Yes, definitely. But they're just not that concentrated. We have a ton of gators here. There's a pond across the street from my house, which I'm pretty sure has nothing but snakes and frogs in it now and turtles. But when I first moved here, the guy who's setting up my security system told me that he fishes back there and he sees alligators all the time. But they must have been moved since then.
Now, I always think of like alligators as the bees and crocodiles as the wasps. Like, I feel like alligators won't really bother you if you don't start anything with them. Is that right? Or no?
Well, I think the statistics would say otherwise. Just this year, there was another death by an alligator in
I'm
Florida.
really going more off of my feelings,
Just vibe, just
my
gut.
vibe. Than you can tell me your stats. That's fine.
Yeah,
But I still feel like they're the bumblebee.
crocodiles would definitely be the wasp, while alligators are the bee.
Just attitude problems.
Yeah,
Like,
lazy.
they're not here for anything good.
Yeah,
They're just here for trouble.
the crocodiles are definitely.
Now, so I am curious about the data. How many people have died this year in the U.S. from alligator attacks?
I don't know about U.S., but I can find that out. I can tell you that there was an attack in Florida recently, like since we came home from our Kansas trip.
I wonder if you could. I wonder out of all of those, how many of them were from people being stupid or be like getting too close to involved.
Oh, well, I don't know. Some of them have been babies.
The babies were attacked, or the babies
Yeah,
attacked?
babies were eaten. The
God.
babies didn't attack. Oh, let's see. There's around 442, but that's just in Florida. And that's since 48. Oh, in Alabama.
In a year, though.
There's only been 5 documented alligator attacks in Alabama from 48 to the 2000s, and none of them were fatalities. So
Man,
I'm good.
those Alabama gators are weak, soft.
In Baldwin County, where I live, a 34-year-old man sustained a non-fatal leg bite. He required 20 stitches from a roughly 6-foot alligator while wading in Lake Shelby at Gulf State Park. That was in Baldwin County. 20 stitches, whatever, dude. That's badass.
Now that would, I didn't think about that. Like, I don't think I'm hanging out in the lake in a place that has native
gators.
I keep saying that wrong. That gators are native too. Yeah. I'll pass on that.
Well, actually, so what do you think about this? I have a very sturdy, a very well-built
raft,
inflatable kayak.
Okay.
It's an inflatable kayak. It's got hard, like, Teflon pieces on the bottom, but yeah, there's some exposed rubber, whatever, exposed plastic. I want to take it out into the Gulf or into the Mobile Bay, not even all the way out to the Gulf, but to the Mobile Bay, the brackish water, to do a little fishing, maybe a little crabbing, you know?
Okay.
Ashley thinks that I shouldn't do it because we have like some 14-foot alligators out there. But couple things on my side here. I mean, I've already shown you a stat. There's only been 5 attacks, period, in Alabama.
Right.
None of them are fatal. The Mobile Bay is not very deep, and I'm an excellent swimmer.
Okay.
I'm an excellent swimmer. I have combat experience. I always have a knife on me, usually a gun. I don't know if I'll take my gun fishing. I don't know what the laws are here, but I always have a knife on me, usually a gun. I think in the Mobile Bay, with an inflatable raft, the inflatable raft gets not the inflatable raft, the inflatable canoe, it gets a pass. What do you think?
Well, that comes down to one question. That is, are you a bitch?
No.
Then you should absolutely do it.
Yeah, I ain't no
No
bitch.
question. No question about it.
Well, there you go. So
if it's what I'm picturing, those like it's not like a raft that you would do a float trip on. Like it's an
Right, no.
actual
It's
like
a kayak.
Gore-Tex, like a legit.
It's a fishing kayak. You can mount an outboard motor to the back of it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I was going to be in the water in that scenario, you might as well take your kayak out there. But my problem is more that just doesn't seem like a cool place to be crabbing. Seems like a bad idea.
Why?
Especially because you have 14-foot alligators.
Oh, okay.
and presumably other alligators, at least up to that
Yeah.
that size. And also because crab meat is disgusting.
What?
It's so gross. And
Have I-
I'll be real honest with you. I'm just going to go on a rant. I'm a little bit tired of people acting like these crab boils are fun. It's not. It's not
Crawfish
fun.
too?
Eat these
You don't
fucking
like
whole potatoes, not even diced, just whole potatoes,
corn cob,
corn,
shit that they don't even want. Like they put broccoli in it.
and everything's wet.
So overspiced.
And you're just trying to eat this crappy. It doesn't even, once you even get the meat, it's not even good. Like it's so much work just to get meat that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
No thanks.
One time when Caleb was like 4 or 5 years old, he must have been 5. You hear that frog behind me?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay, good. I used to go to the Navy base in Little Creek. It's Joint Expeditionary Base, but it's this Navy base in Norfolk, Virginia called Little Creek. It's where expeditionary units are in the Navy. I used to go there with Caleb on the weekends. I'd get him some ice cream, and he'd sit on the cooler, and I'd take my dive mask and a hand net, and I'd dive down the pier, and I see these crabs that were going up and down the pylons of the pier, and I'd just scoop them with that net and then swim up, and he'd be sitting on the cooler. He'd open up the cooler, and I'd fill that sucker up with crabs.
Okay.
I mean, easy hour, fun time.
Now that would actually be fun.
Yeah.
Like it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I took it home. I did this a couple of times actually, but the first time that I did it, I brought it home, had a big turkey boiler or a turkey fryer. I used it to boil them all up. I did the corn and potatoes. Didn't do any. I might have done some like Old Bay seasoning. It wasn't that southern spicy style. It was just like regular Old Bay.
Yeah.
No one wanted to eat it.
That's it.
I literally burned thousands of calories on this thing. No one wanted to eat it.
I'm so appreciative that they didn't pretend, because that's what I'm talking about. I'm sick of people pretending like it's cool, because it's not. It sucks.
I don't have to worry about that with my family. They don't pretend to like anything. They'll let you know. This does not taste good.
This actually kind of sucks.
Yeah. Caleb and Ashley didn't want to eat anything with a face. I was thinking, well, everything does. They're like, yeah, well, we don't see it when we eat it.
What are you trying to serve them with its face still on?
Well, the crab, I gave them a big red crab and put it on their plate, and I said, all right, pick it apart. And they're like, excuse me.
Gotcha.
Have you ever picked a crab apart?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Gross. It's disgusting.
The whole process is gross, and then you stink like the gross food. There's nothing. The only pleasant thing about it is sometimes people put summer sausage in it.
Yeah.
And so like that's good. Sometimes there's butter, so you can like have a smashed up potato and a little bit of sausage. But it's not like a good time, or it's not like a great meal.
Yeah,
and it's so much effort. Like, yeah, it's just such a waste.
It is. It's definitely a lot of calories.
It's at least a waste on me.
It helps out when people enjoy the food that you're making. That's a good.
I found that's one of the keys to a good party.
Yeah, people actually enjoy what you're serving.
Yeah, or just enjoy like the process or being there.
Being around you, period.
That helps too.
Getting back to why I wasn't a good fit at the sheriff's office.
So going back, because this is kind of what my brain does.
Sure.
Why why do you think like everything UFO or alien just halted? Like we were talking about having recovered bodies, and like we were talking, like it was a major conversation, and then it just stopped. I've got abandonment issues from it. Like
Well, it didn't just stop. It just people stopped reporting on it because they're talking about an alien spaceship attacking Earth in December of 2025. A Harvard professor, and I'm not talking about like
Okay.
a conspiracy theory guy. A Harvard professor said that there is an alien ship bound to attack the U.S. in 2025, or said that there's no reason to expect that it's friendly, is what he said. Which is, I guess,
But but he's still saying that it's like an asteroid, not that it's
oh no. He said that there's reason to believe it's in
like a
being
craft.
controlled. Yeah, it's a craft.
Oh, I thought that it was like a space rock or an asteroid or something like that.
No, he called it a. I don't want to misquote him, but he definitely alluded that it was. He definitely said that it's being piloted.
And
Like,
when was the last time it was seen?
well, I gotta scroll back up through my stuff now. July 20. It was detected in July 1st, 25, and it's supposed to be potentially threatening Earth by November 2025. It's traveling at 130,000 miles per hour, is how fast it's traveling. Uh,
I don't believe it, by the way.
you don't believe it's traveling that fast? That's just imaginary number.
I just don't believe that this thing is.
What? Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the size of Manhattan. The spaceship is. Oh yeah, you don't buy it?
No.
Libtard, liberal propaganda.
I'm calling bullshit on this entire operation. I don't think any of it's true.
Well, it's. I definitely don't think we're going to see anything from it. I don't think there's going to. Like, if anything, they're going to be like, remember that spaceship that was supposed to be here? It didn't come.
So you talked about a reset. At at what point? At what point? And maybe it will never happen. But wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be great if there could just be like a global like timeout? Everybody stop. All right, and just start over.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Just throw the idea like, hey, if we were to start all this over, how would we do it?
What would you do? What would you do
Theoretically.
different? Yeah. Yeah. Like we could come up with new history books, like preferably a true history. Like we
Yeah.
could come up with just start over. Everything just start over. We don't have to have any more lies about anything. We don't have to have any more propaganda. Just fresh.
I don't know if that can happen, if a start over like that can happen, but I'd tell you what's, I don't know, it's scary that I think could happening and almost seems inevitable is the Hunger Games oligarchy type of world domination, and like these hunger zones that you're not going to be allowed to travel from, and everything's going to be based on this Orwellian social obedience.
I still
Because
have not watched those movies, and I want to.
yeah, you probably should. It might seem a little familiar with some
Might
of this
prep me
stuff.
for something.
Yeah, it could. But I could see a time where like X owns the Rockies and IBM owns the Great Lakes, and Shell owns the Gulf Coast, and
And Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock own all of them.
yeah, exactly. And Israel owns them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I could and where there's, because we were kind of talking about it with Teapot, eventually there is going to be a need, like with the rise of AI and automation, there's going to be a need for some sort of universal basic income, at least some sort of universal basic substance, like substantive income, because there's going to be thousands and millions of people without a job. Like there's not going to be any more driving jobs. There's not all the coding jobs, all the computer science degree jobs. That's all AI for now on. AI can code better than you. AI can
Oh
do,
man.
they can be in accounting better
So
than you. And they can sell
are
better than you probably too.
are are we at a point where programmers are losing, like, is that industry
In mass.
really?
Yeah, in mass.
So what do
Uh,
guys like that, what do people like that do? Where do you
they
go from there?
they pivot to some sort of substantive or like supportive or administration role, but there's a lot of coders that I've heard that recently in podcasts, that specific thing talked about, like all the coders that thought they were going to have job security forever. Well, it turns out AI can code pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
I mean, it's kind of like, and I do feel for anybody that loses their job, but it's kind of like at some point, CD manufacturers are probably like, oh, this is gravy. Like CD quality music,
We're in,
nobody will ever not need us.
and let's
Go.
say CDs were better than MP3, don't you think?
Well, what do we have now?
MP3.
No, I like what we got now.
You think the sound is better?
Uh,
I think
Dude,
CDs had a better sound.
it's been, honestly, it's been so, I don't know that I own a CD anymore.
Mm.
I might in a junk drawer somewhere.
Man, I tell you, probably the only CDs I have are Anthony Robbins and Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
I
I
do
used to
got some of
have
them.
I used to have a big, like massive 120 CD holder, binder that
Yeah.
I used to keep. Got stolen out of my truck.
Oh, dang.
Well, this was back when I was a teenager. It was a GMC Jimmy. Used to have two 15-inch speakers in a box.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was bumping. But
Well, is there anything else you wanted to hit?
not particularly. The world's burning.
The world's
Uh,
burning, but the answer has never really changed. The only thing you can do is be a good person. Like that's
Yeah.
how you can change the world. Is just tend your own garden.
At the very least, yeah, just enjoy the last pleasant few last few years of pleasant living.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it could all go up at any moment. So,
Live today.
yeah, you got it.
All right, homeboy. We'll see you.
You have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.